What's up, everybody? Hit that like button. We're going to be getting going in about 15 minutes. Let's jam some tunes. Let's get involved. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Markets, traditional markets looking like they're about to collapse. They're already pushing down. We're seeing a break in correlation with Bitcoin and the traditional and the crypto markets. Are we going to be able to sustain that? Or is this an impending sign Bitcoin's going down? We are talking about everything going on in these markets here. So everybody get involved. Let me know how you doing, how you feeling. Let's play some music, baby.
Into an entity.
today. We got some really good charts, some important charts we got to look at today, so we can forecast what we may think is going to be happening in this market. So everybody, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, get involved in the live chat. John 3:16 says Crow is pumping. Then he said, love the tune playing. You can find all the music that I play on here on my SoundCloud. Toured internationally as a DJ for a long time. But that was years ago. You know, fully transitioned. That's right, I said it, here into crypto. I've been in since about 2015, 2016, but came on the public side of things in 2021. And when I did that, I had to kind of step away from DJing. But I get to drop those tunes for you here. Hope you're liking it. Hope you're enjoying it. Big love and blessings to each and every one of you. I hope you're all well. How you doing, Granny's Garden? How you doing, Falco? How you doing, Alexandra G? Sawtooth Hiker, Crimson Caravan Company, maybe a Band-Aid. What up, Red Elephant? How you doing? Brad Guydell, what's up? We got everybody in the house. Let's roll call it right now. Who's in the house? Who's active on the keyboard? Who's hit the like button? You haven't hit the like button yet. I don't know what you're doing. Help keep this channel afloat, baby. Candle Daddy said, Kelly makes music. Man, I toured for 6 years as a singer-songwriter. And then when I moved to New York, I got roped into the electronic music scene. Not EDM, kind of stuff you're hearing right here. A cross between like deep house and then a lot of house music and techno as well. But like the subtle world kind of music, the kind of tunes, all this music mixes you're hearing at the beginning of these streams. These are all mixes from old radio shows or live sets from festivals, etc. But everybody, I hope you're all feeling good. Did you look in the mirror? Are you looking good today? Hope you're feeling grateful. Not feeling grateful, then you're probably anxious. Great way to displace anxiety is to find gratitude in those things in your life. That's what this channel is about. Bringing that encouragement, bringing that empowerment, bringing you tools, strategies, tips and tricks, how to navigate this market. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I really do love all of you. Breaking down some charts today. So everybody, we're going to be getting going here in just a few minutes. Let's go ahead and drop that countdown clock and adjust it just a little bit. I so appreciate that warm and like inviting question. The fact of the matter is, we want to get people in here to communicate and build a community. That's what it's about. I hear that. They can catch it on replay. You're right. But unfortunately, in order to build a business and sustain it, it's good to have a strong community, and that's what this is all about for me, is building a strong community so that we can do this into the future. So we started a little early. We get those tunes playing. We get chatting. Where's everybody from? What you doing? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? I get the input on what kind of charts you want to look at. So that's why we do it, baby. polarizing wedge on the daily, though, he says, but is it part of a bull pennant? C3 getting lit. Maybe we can look at some C3 today. Crimson says this music makes him want to do drugs. Let's do the chart. That's the kind of drug we're going to do, is looking at these charts, breaking it down. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream, 10 a.m. Eastern time every day. I know we've done some shuffling of the times. We had a lot going on in the background over here, building out a lot of new content, a lot of different partners and stuff, getting some expansive things that are happening for offerings for all of you. So we realized we had to cut down on some of the live streaming that we're doing, which is why we're doing it now at 10 a.m. And I'm going to be scaling into doing live streams specifically for the members, which is what the other live stream is going to be. It's going to be for those people that are members of BitLab Academy. So if you haven't yet, check out bitlabacademy.com. We break everything down from beginner to pro. My name's Kellam. Welcome to the show. If you haven't yet, I don't know what you're doing. You're here watching. I'm waking up early, setting up for you. If you haven't yet, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. I think it's time to jump right into what we want to talk about today. Markets collapsing. How does that potentially impact Bitcoin? Bitcoin's showing a strong break in correlation for what's happening right now on the markets as it relates to what's going on in the traditional finance world. We see right here, this is obviously the blue SPX, traditional markets pulling back while Bitcoin pushing higher. Let me drag this down just a little bit. Boom, right there. Here we go. And we can see there's a large, decoupling. Everybody's talking about, the fact that Bitcoin and traditional markets have this periods of coupling and decoupling. We can see right here when the markets are really strong, Bitcoin tends to be really strong. Of course, we have this little deviation here where Bitcoin did break down while stock markets were still pushing higher. But that's because every different asset has its own sort of world of variables that can impact it. In this case, this was the Chinese mining ban right here. But despite the Chinese mining ban, we could see leading into this, the mining ban was here. We see leading into this, a loss in momentum, push up, smaller push up, smaller push up, smaller push up. And all of a sudden now we have a new low followed by a new lower low here. We broke that low, the low of this range, and we have a new lower high. So lower low signals likely breakdown. This confirms very, very likely breakdown. And then the break of this low really gives you that clear cut bearish price trend, trend in price, I should say. And we see that pulls back. Now, of course, the Chinese mining ban did have that ultimate impact on driving the price down and fear in the market and selling pressure when miners had to move because they're closing up shop or moving territory for which they're operating, which is what we found out is actually more of what happened. But we saw the stock market pushing higher through all this. Now, look at this little dip right here, perfectly correlated with the stock market. Look at all these moves, very, very correlated with what's going on in the stock market. It's amazing how all these things are lining up. Now, do we need to be worried about this? Bitcoin is setting up, and it already is the best asset in the history of the world. But is it setting up for a sustained rally in contrast to what traditional markets are doing? I just want to go over, I'm going to go over very quickly on these. So if you want to look in deeper, pull up these tweets on your own. You can see the handle of each one of these tweets and who they're from, and you can look deeper into these if you want. But I just want to go through some of these. Inflation. We have a conflict, a pretty large conflict right now going on in the Middle East. Is that going to become more of a regional thing? Is it going to be that ultimate turning into World War III? You know what I'm talking about. Well, we can see every time, of course, this last 2 years, 3 years, but really 2 years, we've been really trying to tackle inflation, not only in the US, but the world over. And the problem with this is you're going to see in a lot of these other charts that I'm about to show, there's a lot of different pressures on the economy right now. And if the economy is not doing well and there's not a lot of capital, then it's hard to imagine where capital is coming from to push asset prices up. Now, inflation tends to go up each time there's a war. Do we need to watch out for this? Just something, a little bit of a forewarning. Now, looking at this, savings are contracting at recessionary levels. Why do we care about this? We want to talk about Bitcoin because this is talking about capital that's available to flow into assets. The question here is going to be, and we've talked about this a lot, will Bitcoin fully gain traction, not just in your mind, my mind, and all of us in crypto? I'm talking about your neighbor, your aunt, your uncle, institutions, the broader scope of retail. Are we going to see a flight to quality, as Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, calls it? Bitcoin being an asset that we're going to start seeing a flight to quality. And Bitcoin is that asset that's a flight to quality. Are we going to see it transcend, as he said? Again, Larry Fink quote, it's going to transcend international assets and international currencies. Are we in the process of seeing Bitcoin break that correlation, which we have, and sustain that over a long period of time where Bitcoin stops being a risk asset? It starts being a safe haven. That's going to be the thing that's going to really turn the market on its head. Now, if we come over here, let's go to this right here, traditional markets. Looking at this before we go over any more tweets, the reason I bring this up is we see NASDAQ falling wedge, found resistance here, pushing down here. Looking at the SPY, we still have quite a bit of ways to go down if the NASDAQ does want to fall. S&P 500, look at this. Head and shoulders. We marked this out right here when this was breaking. We suggested that the target was from the neckline to the top of the head, relatively there. And look at this. Look at where this went to. This came down and basically bounced. Front ran that a little bit. Came up, did exactly what we're talking about when we're looking for confirmations. Came up, rejected right here, and then pushed back down and broke this level. This is telling me, even on a bounce here, that this is likely, in terms of the structure of the chart, S&P 500 is looking like it wants to collapse further. These are all the signs of a rollover. Now, we come over here. We look at the Dow Jones Index. Another head and shoulders. Target. A target from the neckline to the top of the head. We drew this out when it was somewhere in this region right over here. So, man, this looks like it could be breaking down. Look at where that went to. Price action came right into the zone of where this target was based on this measurement. Came up, found a rejection, pushed back down. This one, however, is holding above not only these lows over here, but these lows right here. Option J. You see, we'll want to watch what happens with the Dow Jones right here if this does start to break down, because this is going to be more pressure on the markets. We're going to be jumping in to Bitcoin here in a moment, but I just want to show you the pressures on the market. When I'm talking about market collapse, I'm talking about the traditional markets are not looking like they want to push higher right now. Will that bring Bitcoin down and force Bitcoin to pull back, or will it just tamper the amount of bullishness that is there with Bitcoin and Bitcoin still pushes higher? Either one of those scenarios could play out, because we are still in that transition period. We are not fully Bitcoin is not fully a hedge against traditional assets when you're trading on a 1 hour or a 4 hour or a daily. It may be in process of that, but we can see that these small periods of decoupling from the stock market, from traditional assets, doesn't mean that it has fully happened yet. So let's continue on here. We looked at that chart. We looked at this chart really quick here. By the way, follow Game of Trades if you haven't yet. So much good stuff here. Credit card debt in the U.S. Look at this, $1 trillion in credit card debt. We're seeing record numbers of bankruptcies. And, since the financial crisis back in 2008, we're seeing, defaults on credit. We're seeing people unable to pay and we're seeing potentially inflation might go up again. We see also that savings are down. Where's the capital coming from to live life, let alone put in assets? I've got something very bullish to share at the end of all this. So don't let me make you think that I'm a bear. No, I'm looking at the grander picture so that we have a full scope of what we're looking at. Personal savings rate. Look at this. Lowest level since the financial crisis. Great. It's actually not great. This is terrible. Housing affordability index. No savings, credits through the roof. People are going bankrupt, defaulting on their credit. They have no savings, and now the housing affordability index plummeted. This is the most unaffordable U.S. housing market since 1989. Pressures from every angle. And we see right here, permanent job losses have been accelerating aggressively. Look at this. Boom. 19.9%. This is a huge swing from minus 60% to 19%. That's an 80% swing. It's pretty substantial. Current rate of increase is comparable to the dot-com bubble, financial crisis, and the pandemic. So people have no savings. Credit cards are basically through the roof, and permanent job losses are rising. Housing affordability, inflation may be going back up. We look at this market again, starts to make sense why things are also pulling back. Come back over here where we were. Now, then we get to a little more focused out of the macro, looking at Google. Again, we're going to be diving into Bitcoin here in a moment. Looking at Google here, look at this drop. Nearly 200 billion in market cap has been erased today alone. This was yesterday. $200 billion drop in market cap for Google. That's incredible. Down 10%. Is this going to cascade into other assets in the traditional space? NASDAQ, dot-com bubble versus now. Look at this correlation. See, boom, boom, boom. This a top, a low, a lower high. Boom, boom, boom. A top, a low, a lower high. Are we about to see some very recessionary fireworks? What do you think? Do you think we're going to go into a recession? Do you think we've already been in a recession that's just been dragging out and everybody's conflating the numbers and trying to talk around it? Do you think Bitcoin's even going to be affected by that? Or do you think that the institutional interest is right there on the doorstep and starting to deploy? Do you think that's going to help that flight from shitty assets and a poor propped up economy into a flight to quality, which is what Bitcoin is? See that? Now we see this. According to JP Morgan, the recent Bitcoin rally, this is bullish as it could be. The recent Bitcoin rally was driven by institutional investors, and this was based on seeing inflows of Bitcoin into large wallets. And I'm not talking like a wallet with 100 Bitcoin. I'm talking with wallets with, hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars. And basically scale the type, it's institutional size wallets, taking advantage of what's happening with where price is before the ETFs get approved. Some of that could be seeding with, there's, I don't even remember how many ETFs there are, but there's quite a few out there. Invesco, Bitwise, 21 Shares, iTrust, or iShares, sorry. And what else was there? I can't even remember at the moment. There's a number of spot ETFs out there, and they're going to need to start seeding before those things get deployed. In addition to that, we also see other institutions starting to show a lot more interest now that we get that stamp of approval from Larry Fink. So the economy is this is not a setup for success for the economy. Looking at all these charts, this is showing incredible headwinds for what is to come. But wouldn't you know it, back in 2009, Satoshi Nakamoto put out the white paper and ultimately launched Bitcoin. It was in complete contrast and in complete opposition to the way the traditional finance system works, to the way the traditional economy has worked for the history of humanity. Why? Because it's transparent, it's immutable, it's in a shared network that everybody's participating in. And it has programmed inflation that reduces on schedule every 4 years, or 210,000 blocks. Completely the opposite of the way fiat money is run. So when we dive into all this and we want to figure out what's going on, we look at this chart again. This chart I put out in January of this year. We had not even yet had the two tops to push up, but essentially structurally, this is essentially exactly what is still happening. Will we get that $48,000, $50,000 mark before the halving? Do you think, comment down below if you're watching this later, comment in the live chat right now, do you think we're going to come up and attempt this golden pocket? This golden pocket is from this high right here to this low right here, and this golden pocket is right at $48,400 to $50,100. Structurally, this is where we're at. We've had this move. This was a double top instead of a single, and then it did pull back into the $25,000 range, which is right in here, a little bit higher than where I suggested here. Fine. We just broke this level. This is at $31,000, $32,000 level. The question is, on this break, are we going to see Bitcoin come back and touch this zone right in here? This is that zone, right in the $32,000 level. Are we going to hold here? Because I just want you to notice on each one of these previous large pumps, each one of these, 1, 2, 3, we've had a large push up, a little bit of consolidation and distribution to see where the bulls are going to come back in. They come back in, you got much higher low. Push up, this really washed a lot of people out, but on a macro level, higher low. Large push up, consolidation, starting some slow burn distribution down. We find support where, right on this point where these 2 points touched, to create a projected trend line, a rising level of support up into the right. And so we see as the price is coming down, it's like, is it going to go down? Well, this is why we draw lines on charts. We're not trying to do art. We're not trying to be finger painting here with charts, just making magic and making things up. No, we're using a tried and true method of technical analysis, seeing where there's price memory and how that projection of the future, because it helps us understand where possibilities are for entries, for exits. That's what we're doing here. And so we see this level. So on coming into this level, we can look to our other metrics. We see the money flow is starting to curve up. It curved up and flipped right about right here, giving you that inclination on this push up, breaking this low. We see all these 3 triangles down here on the BitLab Trend Fuel. We can see that this was clipping back to the upside. If we really zoom into this, we also see that there's a lot of buying pressure, which is why these are green. We see that the stochastics had an upward trend line of support. We see the RSI had an upward trend line of support, pushing up. Comes up here, hesitates right at the 50 mark, and then explodes up. So we had a lot of different signals. We had a lot of different signals on this chart when we came into this line to give us confidence that it was going to bounce here. Not only was it going to bounce here because of the line, but we also have a confluence from the horizontal level of support that came from over here, that came from here. And we see this is a perfect zone because we have a rising level of support meeting a horizontal level of previous price action interest, in addition to the signals on the chart. Now, coming over to where we're at right now, look at this, another push up, consolidation, distribution. We lost this level, collapse down to the next zone. So where we're at right now, bounce, bounce, bounce. We got, pretty steep angle of attack here from, let me make this a bit brighter. A steep angle of attack from the momentum waves down here. Very deep momentum wave, very small momentum wave, okay? And we see, what do we see? We see the stochastics, this orange line came down all, the lowest it's been in some time, all the way here, which is all the way down to 13%. Out of 1 to 100, when we get below that 30 mark, the further you get below that, especially when these stochastics are coming down and resetting, it's letting you know that the bears have been a little bit too over exuberant and they might be getting exhausted. And what do we see? Boom, the price action pushes to the upside. Now, where do we find resistance? Finding resistance right on a known level, the same level we broke down from, the same level we've bounced on. We've talked about this time and time again. The question is going to be, are we going to see this move right here? Boom, this push up and this retest of this zone. The retest of this zone would be coming back into this previous high, this $31,600, $32,000 region. It doesn't need to get all the way to the number. It needs to, it doesn't even need to, but it's very likely to have some sort of impulse, which will likely wash out of a lot of liquidity of people who don't have strategies. And that's not you. You have a strategy. You have risk management. You have an idea in mind of where you want to find entries if it does go down, and it's not going to upset you if it pulls back. It's not the end of the bull market if you have a pullback. Every price action movement to the upside will have pullbacks. We go back over to 2020. We see, look at this. Push up, consolidation, a little bit of a pullback. Push up, wash out back to the downside. Head and shoulders right here. Or not head and shoulders, sorry. Bart Simpson right here. Liquidity wash out to the upside, consolidation, and then liquidity wash out to the downside. We find equilibrium above this previous high. Look at this. Look at this. Comes down, bounces on the previous high. If you ever are trying to figure out where to draw lines and you're just getting started, zoom out a little bit, look to the left, and look for if it's pushing up, look to where the previous range highs have been. So on this push up, on this collapse, great opportunity when it comes back into this zone. Pushes up, have a little consolidation, break to the upside, wash out to the downside, push up, wash out to the downside again, push up, a little bit of consolidation. This doesn't even look like a lot, but let me just show you guys something. Let me just show you something. These are not just tiny moves. We come over here. That's a 6% move. Great opportunity to take some profits, or if you are very bullish and the way you're doing your technical strategy, this is pushing up. We're getting this very, we're within a certain time frame of the halving and all the things that we talk about here in BitLab Academy on the live stream, in the Discord, and in the Academy itself. Then when you see this push up, you get these teal candles, high volume. You're looking for this stopping volume. We see the bearish signal right here. We see the stochastics come up. They're starting to roll over. And then right there, you could take some profits on this move. You have your long-term portfolio and you have your shorter-term portfolio. So on the shorter-term portfolio that you're trading, you take a little bit off the table. You sell up here. And then as this pulls back, you get a 6% move for this to pull down to, and you look for the patterns that we teach you about. We have a bit of a bull flag here, bull pennant. And on the break of this zone, then you take your measurement, option T, from this zone to this, and then move this just like this. And let's see how it goes. Now, you could have taken some profits off the table right here, but that doesn't mean you take it all off. Remember, we're doing 2 to 3 entries and 2 to 3 exits on these moves. So on this, take 30 to 50% of your profit off the table here. Now, did you miss a little bit of the move? Sure. but you know, lost 7%. But then look at this, the price action comes back and resets below where this target was anyway, and you're able to get back in on this break, which is right there. So my point with all this is, I don't want you to get, there's going to be a video coming out on Discover Crypto later today talking about taking profits and looking at where we're at right now on this chart. We just made a massive move to the upside. Each time that we've done this, we've had some consolidation or consolidation and distribution back to the downside. Does it mean it has to happen here? No, it just means it's very likely because that's how markets work. People are getting very exuberant here. It's getting that retail hype. It's getting the people excited about things in the market so they can make silly decisions. And by making silly decisions, you end up donating your capital to somebody that has a better strategy. And that's what we don't want. We want you, unfortunately, this is how the market works. We want you to be the person that's taking money from other people who don't have good strategy. There's no other way around it. Every time you're buying, somebody's selling. Every time you're selling, somebody's buying. The question is, are you making, let me say this again. The magic to trading, the secret sauce to trading is every time you're buying, somebody's selling. And every time you're selling, somebody's buying. The goal here is to be a buyer in the right moments most consistently. The goal here is to sell in profit most consistently. And you're not always going to buy and have a winning trade. So you've got to practice healthy risk management and let the chart come to you. Let the price action set up a situation where you have a confluence of multiple different signals that confirm the move as close to high probability as possible. So you're not always taking these huge swings and then, you know, being hit with huge losses. I want you to succeed in this market. In order to do that, you got to take responsibility for the shitty trades you've made, and you got to learn that your investment in yourself, your investment in your education, your investment in strategy is going to be the number one things that drives you forward if you can hold yourself accountable and grow in the process. And that's why we're here in BitLab Academy. That's what we're doing. We're breaking this down. So looking right here, we are at a crux of a situation. We got a measured move right here. If we do a very conservative, look at this bull flag, a little bit of a, I wouldn't call this a bull flag, but a little bit of a move. But I'm going to do a conservative measurement from this breakout to the top of this this bull pennant. And if this were to play out, this would take us all the way up here to $39,000. However, we have to look at targets in concert with where other trend lines of support and resistance are. In this case, on the breakout here, we got a confluence of a diagonal level of resistance above us, along with the horizontal level of resistance as well from a lot of different previous price action bounces in the past. So my guess is this target would not be the one that would be hit. If this does break out to the upside, I'd be looking in this zone right here, the 37.7, 37.8, 37.7 to 37.9 zone. Does that mean I think it's going to go there? Well, let's look at the chart. As it stands right now, we're at a key level of resistance. We failed to break through it yet. We do have a bit of a bull pennant here. Okay. We also have on the 8-hour chart, we got a little bit of a triangle here. Now we got a triangle back here, see, and the price action moved up. So you're not going to look at any indicator and get the perfect signal every time. This is why we built the BitLab Trading Stack to have multiple different indicators with different types of data sets that you can use in concert with each other to really identify those good positions. So right here, it pushes up, it holds where? Right on this green box. What's the green box? BitLab volume. It automatically populated this order block right here where there's a lot of institutional interest in this area. This is coming up. There's going to be a lot of buying pressure right in the zone. We can also see this reflected right here with these two green bars, three green bars right here on the BitLab trend fuel. So we see this, and it gets pushed up above that zone, and just maybe a large buy came in. Because the setup here was that there was a potential likely pullback. Well, why didn't that happen? You can never know what money's coming in from outside. If there's new institutional money being deployed in the space, if there's somebody rotating profits or large wallets rotating profits out of altcoins into Bitcoin or into whatever asset you're trading. You want to never use one signal alone. So yes, we got a triangle here, but we also had Let's see. We also have the momentum is still, I mean, this is looking structurally very sound so far. We have an order block right below us. So we got a triangle here, but then we also have the RSI moving up. So moving up, these two things kind of contradict each other. The trend in this case is to the upside. So this moves to the upside. Where we're at right now, we have a bit of a bull flag. Let's look at the 4-hour chart. Right here, get a little bit more clarity. We're really flirting with breaking this. Some would argue that we've already broken below this and we're coming up to retest to break back down. It depends on how you draw the line. In this case, this is not looking like this is not looking like a super, we have a bullish structure here, but it's not looking convincing. Now, one thing I will say on the 4-hour chart, the stochastics down here are fully reset. Momentum's coming down a bit, but the money flow is still positive. That's why this is blue. This wave, this is money coming into the asset. Now, looking at all this, look at this high right here compared, or even way back here. Look at this high here where this triangle is, where the peak of this momentum wave is. Look at where this high is. Now, if we look at this, I just want you to notice something. This is not looking like it's a great setup, because this is, if we really zoom into this, you can see this is a downward angle. Very slight downward angle, okay? And what would you call this? Would you call this a downward angle or a very aggressive upward angle? So we've got a bit of bearish divergence on the momentum, which is signaling a little bit of weakness in concert with the stochastic showing it's almost fully reset. So what this says is it's getting a little uncertain at this area, and that makes sense because everybody's wondering, did the price push up in a healthy manner because of true buying? We saw that there was hundreds of millions of dollars in liquidations. We saw the ticker get put on for BlackRock. We saw all kind of different things. But was this a healthy push to the upside? Do the bears need to test their strength to the downside and see where the bulls come in? I think that is a high likelihood here. Now, does this bar the fact that one of the other ETFs can get their ticker listed on DTCC or whatever, with their different ETFs and get another pump? That very well could happen. But as it stands right now, I wouldn't just buy a long right here with 30x leverage, hoping this is going to push up. What I would do, I would wait for this to resolve a little bit up into this zone and look at the signals at this zone and then pick my entry for a long. At this zone right here, I come down to the 1-hour chart, see what's going on. I want to see this price action kind of roll over and break this low right there. This low is right at 33. Is that really 33? Yeah, 33,967. If we break that low, then we've fully confirmed we have a high, lower high, almost like a triple chop situation right here within this bull pennant. But we also had this right here, M pattern, another attempt, triple here, and now we have a lower high. Now we have a lower low, looking for the lower high, and then the continuation of the downside. Now, if in the terms of targets for the downside, I'm very bullish. I'm very bullish. Any pullback that I'm seeing right now, barring any catastrophe in the world, further catastrophe, I should say, or in markets, or regulation, or Gary Gensler, all these different things, or suddenly all the ETFs are blocked for 3 years, something ridiculous. I see a pullback on this. If we come back out to the 4-hour, coming down and testing this weekly VWAP, which is 32,800, and if we lose that, ultimately maybe a wick and testing down into this 31,600 to 32,000 zone. If we do break out to the upside, I'm watching this territory right here, 37,800. That's what I got. I love you. If you haven't yet, make sure you check out BitLab Academy on YouTube. If you're watching anywhere else, come follow us here, youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. Check out bitlabacademy.com. Get involved in our Discord. We got so many great things in here. Looking right here, I was just sharing some charts and ideas on the breakouts. That's not the right one. It's right here. Sorry, VIP charts. Talking about all kind of stuff in these areas. Get chart requests. We have so many different great traders in here. VIP alts, spot trades, setups, macro stock news. We got so much here in the community. So join us in BitLab Academy. You also get access to our premium Discord, and it helps keep our ability to keep the lights on and bring you all this data. I love each and every one of you. I'm heading over to Discover Crypto now to break down some charts and talk about what's going on in the market. Hope you all have a wonderful day. That's all I got. Adios, muchachos. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Thank you to all the mods and to everybody that tunes in here on a daily basis. I love you. I'll see you later.